Continue. So this is M0UKB, name is Bruce, for those that aren't aware, and for the duration of this net from this point on, I shall use the club call sign of MX0WNN, Mike X-Ray 0 Wednesday Night Net. So good evening everybody, thank you for connecting, thank you for coming along, taking part. Without you folks there wouldn't be a net, simple as that. So, a couple of little bits and pieces that are useful and helpful. Please keep the overs under 3 minutes. The repeaters and gateways that are connected have a timeout, usually set at 3 minutes, so if we can keep it under that, that'd be very, very helpful. If you do want to have a long one, that's absolutely fine. Please just take a pip or a pause, whatever you want to call it, before you hit the magic 3-minute buffer. Talking of pips and pauses, please leave a good 3 to 5 seconds between overs. It just allows all that interconnected stuff to sort its life out in inverted commas, reset itself and take a breather. And finally, when you key up, please wait 1 second from keying up to talking. It just makes sure that any latency or bits and pieces, you don't clip your audio so we can hear everything you've got to say. I shall just take a pause. MX0WNN returning. Well, thank you everybody for coming along, and I'm following along from the topic that was started by Keith on his fantastic new Hamsnet on Sunday, which was all about going portable and mobile. And I thought, oh, it got the old creative juices flowing. And I thought, oh, power. I remember somebody was asking about batteries and power and everything. I thought, since we are getting into the supposedly nicer months of the year around here, today's weather might not have demonstrated that, I thought we'd talk about portable power. You know, we all hear about it, it's all on YouTube and social media and in the internet in general and one thing or other, but what do people use for their portable power? Have people got any questions about what we should be using? Have you built some sort of a portable solar generator or a power bank of such to run your amateur radio equipment, etc.? You know, do you have multiple ones? Have you had multiple iterations where you tried stuff and gone, that didn't work so well, I'll try something different, or whatever. Well, I know we're a hobby full of people that like to fiddle and create and reinvent the wheel, shall we say. So that's tonight's topic, all about portable power. If you've got any examples or whatever, feel free as well if you want to share stuff on the blue screen or NetLogger, we are using that. Or also, if you want to put stuff on Facebook, if you've got any pictures, whatever, by all means, share your creations or your wish lists as such. Right, I'll take one final pause. Okay, this is MX0WNN returning. We are using NetLogger, as I said, so you can follow along on the blue screen, you can see what's going on the net, who's checked in, who's talking, and all that good stuff as well. So it also helps us try and pick out call signs and work out who's who and where you are. So there you go. Right, it's got to the point though now, I've done enough waffle, we need to actually get some check-ins. So please come with your name, call sign and location, preferably phonetically and twice, and also slowly, aids the weary brain a little bit. We can get you in the log, we'll make a little list, and then we'll turn it around and start discussing with people. So, this is MX0WNN, looking for some check-ins. Please come now.
Good evening. King America 3, Boston, Mary Sugar. King America 3, Boston, Mary Sugar, Pennsylvania.
Golf 7, Oscar Charlie Kilo. Golf 7, Oscar Charlie Kilo. Brian in the land of the Prince Bishops.
Zulu Lima 3, Tango Oscar Mike. Zulu Lima 3, Tango Oscar Mike. ZL3 TOM, Thomas Christchurch, New Zealand. ZL3 TOM.
Victor Echo 3 X-Ray Delta Bravo. Victor Echo 3 X-Ray Delta Bravo. Doug in Kitchener, Ontario, Canada.
Okay, folks, got 4 there. In reverse order, we got VE3XDB, that's Doug in Kitchener. Good evening, Doug, or good afternoon. All the way from tomorrow, in the morning on Thursday, we've got ZL3TOM, Thomas out there in Christchurch. Good morning to you, Thomas. And back over this side of the pond, where it's definitely still evening, is G70CK, that's Brian in Crook. And there in the afternoon, over the pond in Pennsylvania, we've got Hank, that's KA3BMS. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever it is, wherever you may be. We'll just ask, is there anybody else that would like to check in? If so, please come now. Okay, no initial check-ins at this time, so we shall go all the way back up to the top and wave a hand and say hello to Hank. That's KA3BMS. Good afternoon, Hank, to you. Hope you're doing well. Hope the weather is not so bad out there in Pennsylvania. And yeah, we'll turn it over to you for how you're doing, and also portable power. What have you used? What do you use? What do you plan to use? Anything you wish to say, any questions or anything that you've got that you want to add there, Hank. And I hope you're doing well. KA3BMS from MX0WNN. It's over to you, sir.
Okay, hello there from Pennsylvania. We hold on. Okay, sorry, I had to switch batteries. I use the least amount power needed to maintain contact. At this point, I'm using a 1/4 watt to get into the Shari pies. Other times, you know, if I'm far away, maybe a mile or two, I'll use 5 watts, but nonetheless, I really don't have much to add here, but certainly thank you for your time. This is KA3BMS.
KA3BMS from MX0WN. No problem at all, Hank. I was just curious, are there any particular sort of batteries of choice, let's put it, if that makes sense, that you use? I know over in the US, I see a lot of these BioNO batteries advertised, and people seem to rave about them. I wouldn't say we can't get them here, but obviously they're lithium batteries, so the shipping of lithium batteries is a little bit problematic, shall we say. Air transport, etc. Even the mail is tricky, but certainly posting them. In all my times of going to the States, I have sort of thought about buying one from the various shops, etc. And I thought, Bruce, how am I going to get this home? Am I going to have an expensive mistake that basically just gets confiscated at the airport? Yeah, Hank, any particular sort of batteries or things like that that you sort of use in your time, or that you maybe have in the go box, in inverted commas? Back to you, Hank. K3BMS from MX0WNN.
In the past, for a go box, I've used an alarm panel battery hooked up to a cable and cigarette lighter socket. Then we'll plug the power cord to the radio, which would recharge the battery as needed. I hope I've answered your question. Over.
Absolutely, Hank. As ever, you have answered the question. Absolutely perfect. Yeah, it's always interesting because some people get really. I have to admit, I'm going to classify myself in this. I get really geeky and techy about sort of batteries and power boxes and things. I suppose it's something I enjoy doing because I can see the benefit of it. Not because I think the world's about to end tomorrow or anything like that, but because they're useful. You know, we all have cell phones to charge, or tablets, or laptop computers, or various gadgets, or things that we want to do with it, lights, or whatever, when we go camping, or you know, bits and pieces like that. You know, so having the ability to have some sort of battery, and also because battery technology keeps advancing in leaps and bounds, so there's a bit like radios. There's always something new and shiny and interesting to play with that we can get our teeth into. And I just enjoy fiddling and making things. You know, being an experimenter or an engineer at heart, I really do enjoy it. Right, okay, no problem. Hank, pass it back to you for any final comments, then we'll move on to Brian. So quickly back to you, Hank, KA3 BMS from MX0WNN.
Thank you for your time. Have a nice day. K3BMS. Goodbye.
No problem at all, Hank. Thank you very much for coming on that. You take care, enjoy yourself, and have yourself a good rest of the afternoon out there in Pennsylvania. Okay, next we will move to Brian. That is G70CK. Good evening to you, Brian. I was going to say good afternoon, but it's definitely evening where you are. I hope you're doing well, and what's your thoughts on tonight's topic? G70CK from MX0WNN.
Yeah, Roger on that one, Bruce. My thoughts on that topic is don't go with you on RARN events into the wilds where you've got nothing to do but sit and look at things and play with things all day. And it cost me a fortune that day from Golf 7 Oscar Charlie Kilo.
Yeah, Brian. I didn't twist your arm at all. I just showed you a box with a battery in it. Back to you, Brian.
Yeah, Roger, Bruce. No, you didn't twist my arm that hard. It didn't take a lot of encouragement. But I will say this, it was one of the better investments that I've made, certainly for going portable. I've yet to flatten the 36 amp hour one on a trip out yet. But one of these days I'll manage to take it out long enough to flatten it, but at the present moment in time I haven't managed yet. And I keep thinking about building another box with a bigger battery in, and then I keep thinking, well, what is the point? I haven't flattened the one I've got, so why build a bigger one? From Golf 7 Oscar Charlie Kilo.
G70CK from MX0WNN. Yeah, I know what you mean. I have to admit, I do like a good battery. Yeah, I've got the 36 amp hour one, and then I've got a big 100 amp hour one. I have yet to properly flatten that, and that has done some work, I'll be honest. That did run the all the stuff when we went to the agricultural show for the whole day, and I hardly even made it sweat. But it's a lot lighter than its previous lead acid variety. So go on, Brian, tell us a bit about this magic box you built. Over to you from MX0WNN.
Yeah, Roger, Bruce. Well, after seeing yours and finding out what the bits and pieces were that went into it, I decided to build my own. Ordered a few bits when we were there at the time and ordered the rest of the bits when we got back and put it back together. And for the life of me, I can't remember the name of any of the parts that I ordered. I just know that it's got power poles on so that I can plug anything into it that I want plugging into it. It's got USB outlets for power in case I need to plug the phone in or anything of that nature. It's got the old cigarette lighter style power outlet on it as well, which gives us about 10 amp, I believe. The power poles was rated at 30, if I remember rightly. without going in the box, I can't remember exactly what fuses I put in, but I believe I put 25s in there or something like that. I think I can, if need be, take it up to about 30 amp output. But as I say, it's a lithium-ion battery, lightweight and much easier to carry about and lug about than the old lead-acid battery that I used to use, and less chance of getting spills all over the place and causing damage. With that, back to you, sir, from Golf 7 Oscar Charlie Kilo.
G7OCK from MX0WNN. Well, I have to admit, yes, the lithium-ion batteries are way lighter than the old lead-acid batteries. And they give you more output. Now, this is one of the interesting things, is so if you buy say a 100 ampere hour lead-acid battery, you can only actually use half of its capacity. It only has a 50% useful part of it, so you're only really getting 50 amp hour. And they're a heavy old beast, is a 100 amp hour battery. Plus, they discharge in a weird way. The voltage goes down, whereas with the lithium battery, the voltage stays pretty constant. And then it goes down like a stone at the very end. But it's pretty constant all the way through. But the big thing I found, Brian, was the number of cycles that you can do is about 200 or 300 on a lead-acid battery. But it's like 4,000 on a lithium battery. So okay, yes, they do cost more money. But if you work out the cost per cycle, if that makes sense, or cost per amp hour over its lifespan, believe it or not, the lithium ones are cheaper in the long run. Back to you, Brian.
Yeah, they've definitely got the advantages, and also the advantage that you've also got with them is, to a certain extent, you're less risk of a spillage of acids about as well. They're a lot better sealed than what the old lead-acid batteries were. I mean, most of the lead-acid batteries now are sealed to a certain extent. But certainly when I first started playing around with radios as such, and taking batteries out and about, which were the old lead-acid batteries, you had to be very, very careful where you put them and make sure that they stayed upright, because if they didn't stay upright, you had problems. So, yeah, and I can see your point about the cost-effectiveness as far as the cycles on charging is concerned. Yeah, but we just have to play it by ear until such times as other things get a little bit better. I've got a little solar charger as well, which does put a little bit into it now and again when I'm using it, but we don't get the nice bright weather as much as what we should do in the UK, but I'm not going to make any further comments on that. From Golf 7 Oscar Charlie Kilo.
MX0WNN return. Yeah, we don't get as much sun as some places. I have to admit, I've always been quite surprised with the old solar panels of how much oomph it puts in, even when it's not particularly bright and sunny. Granted, when it's like totally glorious, it fair old thumps a load of charging. But yeah, I know what you mean. And as for them being sealed and one thing or other, yeah, massive big one. You can. The lithium-ion batteries, you can use them upside down, back to front, left, right, etc. They're certainly very useful for portable stuff. You can just sort of throw them in and go. Obviously, you can't, short them out. But in terms of how you carry them in what orientation, it makes a heck of a difference, I have to admit. Right, okay, Brian, I shall break with you, and we'll go across to literally the other side of the world, where it's tomorrow. And we're going to Tom. That's ZL3TOM. Good evening or good morning to you there, Tom. Hope you're doing well. Pleasure to have you on the Wednesday night net, or the Thursday morning net as it should be called for you. Yeah, what's your thoughts? What have you used, etc.? What would you like to experiment with, etc. in the way of portable power? Over to you, Tom. ZL3TOM from MX0WNN.
Well, kia ora, hello and good morning from New Zealand. This is ZL3TOM. The name here is Thomas from Christchurch, New Zealand. And yes, we are in the future, Thursday morning here, coming out to 7 a.m. here in the morning. It's all is well here. Portable power. Isn't it amazing that we can have these batteries and take batteries with us? How awesome is that? I don't have many portable batteries. The only portable batteries I have are on my cell phone, my iPhone, and I have portable battery on my handheld amateur radio equipment. I have a handheld radio, a cheap one from China, but it's got a radio, it's got a battery, and it works great. Also, in times of need, I have emergency, well I don't say emergency, but I have portable power banks I take with me out and about. I've got one portable power bank that's solar power, so if I don't have any power, or I don't have any way of charging it, I can leave it in the sun, and it shall charge up itself by the solar sun, which is great. And another one charged up by normal USB-C. So I've got two chargers here, portable chargers, batteries, one solar power, you can use for my cell phone or other USB gadgets, etc. And I have another one, which is pretty cool, and that also has on that power bank a wireless charger on it. So it's pretty cool, 2-in-1. And then also have a battery on my cell phone and a battery on one of my amateur radio gear I have. So I do have batteries, but not many, like others may have. Mine are relatively small in comparison. But yeah, everything is well here in New Zealand, and it's good to be here on this fine Thursday morning here in New Zealand. And hello to all on the network. That's Julia from ZL3TOM, Thomas, Christchurch, New Zealand.
ZL3TOM from MX0WNN. Yeah, I have to admit, these new power banks that are coming along are getting really, really ingenious, is the only way to describe it, you know, with the wireless charging, built-in solar panels, all the other interesting stuff that they're doing with them, MagSafe charging and things like that. They're really, really good. They're, you know, it's just getting so simple, let's call it, to be able to charge your gear when you need it. I have to admit, when I go travelling for work, I've got a little, well, it's not so little in terms of capacity. It's fairly small in terms of physical size. Power bank that's, like you say, got USB-C and all that useful stuff, and it's got MagSafe charging and all that sort of stuff, and it just sits in the bag, and it's brilliant. You know, you can charge your iPad, your phone, your AirPods or whatever, all at the same time, and it's just really handy. No rushing on, oh my goodness, where's the power outlet on the wall in the airport or anything like that. You can just do it. So whereas a good few years ago, that would have been a bit of a showstopper. So yeah, have you managed to try and charge your radio off of a power bank there, Tom? Thomas, wonder how if you've managed to do that. Or whether it just doesn't have quite enough juice. Back to you, ZL3TOM from MX0WNN.
Great question, ZL3TOM in return. Great question. No, I have never tried to charge my radio or my radio equipment off a power bank. I don't have much amateur radio equipment, and that sounds pretty silly, but I only got one handheld radio, or a couple handheld radios, and generally they plug into a cradle, and the cradle goes into the wall socket, so I don't have a real way of charging my batteries on my handheld radios, walkie-talkies if you want to call them another way, into the power bank. But that'd be pretty cool if there was a way to clip it and somehow and maybe be able to connect it portably if you didn't have power socket somewhere and you're out and about, but you had a cradle with you, you plug it in and somehow top it up to the power bank. Most of it is possible, but I never delved into that really. I generally give enough juice out of my batteries for whatever I want, and whenever it's running low, the handheld, I just put it back on the charger to get home or whenever, and then it's all good to go for next time. But no, these MagSafe cases for the cell phones, I own one of them, so I own a MagSafe case. I use it on my wireless charger at home, next to my bed, and also occasionally use the wireless charger on my power bank, along with the USBs etc. on it as well. Quite good capacity on them. Really good capacity on the battery for charging smartphones or USB devices. Really good. Lasts quite a long time. I'm actually surprised how long it lasts. But it's great. And it's small and it pushes the punch out, which is fantastic. But no, good to be here, and thank you so much for taking my check-in. To answer the question, I have not tried charging my amateur radio equipment, just in my handheld, using the power bank. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it sounds interesting, and I would like to try it one day if I knew how. So that's pretty cool. That'd be Julia from ZL3TOM, Thomas from Christchurch, New Zealand, and the wrong white cloud. Back down Julia from ZL3TOM.
Well, Thomas, I believe I've got some. They're up converters from 5 volts DC to 12 volts DC. They do them for other ones as well. So you know the little wall wart that you normally plug into the back of the cradle for your Anytone or your Bofeng or whatever handheld radio you've got. You can now plug that into the USB. I've got a couple of them, and they're really, really handy. Yeah, if you're interested, have a little look. There's plenty of them knocking around on eBay or Amazon or places like that. You know, you could probably create your own as well, but there's some there that are there, and they work an absolute treat there. Well, pleasure to have you on, Thomas. Enjoy yourself. Have a good Thursday, and I'll be dreaming of Thursday. Well, first of all, I've got to finish Wednesday first. As such. Right, no problem. You take care of yourself, Tom, and enjoy, and thank you very much for coming on the Wednesday Night Net. Do appreciate it. Take care in 7-3, and we shall go now to Doug out there in Kitchener, Ontario. That's VE3XDB. Hello, Doug. I hope you're doing well. It's over to you, sir.
MX0 Whiskey November from Victor Echo 3 X-Ray Delta Bravo. Good evening, Bruce. There's lots of Wednesday left here. So portable power, this is a really good topic because I don't know much about it at all. And I'm kind of thinking of putting together a little portable station that I can leave in the car. And so I'm listening in for good ideas. I've been thinking about a 12-volt lithium-ion phosphate battery. And you can get one where, you know, a 12 amp hour battery with a charger for about $125 Canadian on Amazon. My QRP rig, which is a little tri-bander, draws nothing. It draws 90 milliamps on receive and maybe 800 milliamps on transmit. So that would work all day. That should run all day. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, but open to ideas and suggestions. So that's why I'm listening in today. Hope all is well with you, Bruce, and hello to everyone else on the net. Mike X-Ray 0, Whiskey November from Victor Echo 3 X-Ray Delta Bravo.
MX0WNN returning. Yeah, no problem at all, Doug. Well, I do love building a good power box, or whatever you want to call it, battery bank, or whatever the term you want to use is. Yeah, I like you use them for the same idea. I've got a little one that sits inside I've gone from the easy option, was quite simply just the lithium-ion battery with 2 terminals on top, and then I've gone through ones that are nicely housed in a little like Pelly case style thing, and just a small one, you know, with then the ports so that there's no wires showing from the outside and looks quite sort of tidy, etc. And spent a bit of time making them. Yeah, it just depends what you want to do. I've got, what have I got? I'm looking on the shelf here. I've got a little one off Amazon that was not a lot. It was about £30 British, and I think it's a 7 amp/hour one. That's really good, and I've just simply connected on the top of that a couple of wires with 2 sets of power poles on, and I can just use that, and that lasts for a good old while. I've used that with my QRP stuff. I've used it running 100 watt radio on it. Not all day. Well, it'll probably run for the best part of a day, because obviously you're not using 100 watts all the time. And then I've got bigger ones. I've got about a 36 amp/hour one, which is the one that Brian was talking about, and then I've got a big 100 amp/hour one. Now that was a bit more. That was about £500, plus all then the box to put it in, the bits and pieces. But that's more for when I go away in the pickup truck, and we're doing like a field day or something like that, and we might want to plug in, you know, all sorts, charge cell phones, even laptops, run radios, maybe there's a bit of lighting if it's getting dark, and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I certainly enjoy that sort of stuff, and you can do a lot with it. But certainly, yes, the lithium iron phosphate, you won't go wrong with that at all, Doug. They are more expensive to buy outright and initially shell out on, but they are absolutely well worth it in the long run. Doug, back to you before I time out. VE3XDB from MX0WNN.
Oh, very good, Bruce. Well, thanks for the confirmation. When you said your 7 amp/hour runs enough, like so 12 would be plenty. It would run for days with what I'm planning to run. But you know what? You just gave me an idea. I might even try it with my my old Kenwoods. Who knows? Maybe that's something else in the plan. Anyway, thanks so much, Bruce. I always enjoy checking into your net. Have a great week, and all the best to everyone. Mike X-Ray 0, Whiskey November from Victor Echo 3 X-Ray Delta Bravo 73. I'll continue listening in.
VE3XDB from MX0WNN. Well, Doug, I've just posted in the blue screen a link to Amazon. Have a look at that. That's a little 7 amp/hour one that I've got. As I say, works a treat. It's gone up in value. That's inflation for you. It's £48 now in the UK, but it's still not horrendous money. That works a treat. Yeah, you'll easily run your 100 watt radio off them. No problems at all. You run a 100 watt radio, no bother. If you're running something QRP like an FT818 or something like that, or Zygoos or whatever the various ones that are out there, they'll last for days. They'll last for forever almost. So certainly good, and yeah, you're not going to run out. And you get the really flat, stable voltage. You don't get this sort of starting off at 12.8, then going down, and when you hit the PTT on a few watts, the radio tells you when you've got 10 volts or something. You will get about 13.2, pretty much stable all the way through. It might drop to a wholesome 12.9, and at the end it will just go, bye bye, I've had enough, boom, go. But you get a long time out of them. So yeah, have a look at them, Doug, and if you want anything, just shout. There's a few of us on here that play with them, so no problem at all. Always happy to be of assistance. Right, okay, we are at the bottom of the list, so let's see. Is there anybody else out there who would like to check in to the Wednesday Night Net? Don't be shy. Please come now. This is MX0WNN. Looking for check-ins, please.
Two, Echo 1, Golf, Foxtrot, Lima. 2E1 GFL alternate.
Zero 8 EQN, 2 Echo 0 Echo Quebec November.
Okay, got two stations there. I've got 2E0EQN, that's David in the South Shields, and I've got 2E1GFL stroke alternate, which is Dennis, not in County Durham tonight. So Dennis, I'm guessing you're floating on the boat, so this is rather apt. Portable power, what do you use, sir? Dennis, it's over to you from MX0WNN.
That's 2E1 GFL picking it up. Well, normally I use the battery power on the boat, but I've made a couple of little USB chargers that I got from, I made a few up, and Brian got a couple, and one or two lads up the club got a one. Obviously, I don't use the radio that much on the boat. It's antenna-wise is the problem with it being fiberglass. So as now, I'm actually using peanut. There was a problem with Echolink, but Gareth sorted that out. I messaged him, and that's been sorted. So as long as I've got the phone charged or my handheld charged, which I can charge that off the cigar lighter sockets, I'll just take a pip. So we want GFL back. I can charge that up off the board. The engine does have a good output on it. It keeps the batteries topped up quite well. If it's left overnight and it starts to get a bit down, I fire it up, put some life into the batteries, and as I say, that makes use of everything I really need if I'm afloat. Background to you, Bruce, net control from 2E1 GFL.
E1 GFL from MX0WNN. Yeah, no problem at all there, Dennis. Yeah, I suppose you have got an alternator on board, haven't you, called the engine. You can sort of you can just fire it up, and I suppose if you're chugging on down the waterways, you may as well make use of it and recharge everything as you go. And yeah, we're going to have to get you with a proper radio on board that boat. We're going to have to fathom out some way of doing it for you. There's got to be a way, Dennis. There's got to be a way. We'll get a little collinear on top of the boat or whatever. Or you could use it as a flagpole, or we could make some use of it as a mast with some sails on there for you, Dennis. I could just imagine you cruising on down the waterways of the Ouse, etc., with your little sails going. Yeah, why not, Dennis? Back to you from MX0WNN.
MX0WNN 2E1 GFL. You know, I can get into HG, no problem, but it's not connected. I wouldn't be able to get into networks or into the nets. Plus the fact, as you know, I can take my sherry about with me and use that piggybacked onto the phone or the PC, and then use the PC, the laptop, to get into Echolink. So I managed to survive. Doesn't matter where I go, Bruce, as you know. I do travel about a bit. I never fail to get in. And if there is something that isn't connected, that should be connected, we've got a Gareth. A message to him. His fast fingers usually sorts it. Thank you very much, Gareth. And I saw the messages flashing backwards and forwards while I have Peanut up. Background unit control from 21 GFL alternate.
MX0WNN returning. Yeah, usually when we've got a Gareth, we've got a way to sort something out. It does usually help. We do periodically though have to recharge our Gareth though. You know, but I know Gareth's been playing with the lithium batteries as well. I remember when we went to the science day, we had everything there. We had lithium batteries, we had mains power. We were wired for sound quite literally. So yeah, but like you say, if you've got your Shari and you've got a handheld or whatever, and you've got your mobile phone as well, that gets you the Echo Link, the Peanut, bit of RF into there. Yeah, because you never quite know what the repeaters are going to be connected to or not. Some are just incapable of further connection. Some are very connected. Yeah, so it does allow you a little bit of option, let's call it. Right, okay then, Dennis, I'll break with you and we'll go to Dave, or David, sorry, David. That's 2E0EQN. Good evening, David, hope you're doing well. I know last time we talked, it was a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking on the network, so I hope you're doing well. Over to you, David, 2E0EQN from MX0WNN.
MX0WNN. Yeah, I suppose I'm a bit alternative tonight, or a bit mobile. I'm actually still in the car. I've been listening to you as I have been driving home and listening outside of the art class that I run on a Wednesday night there. Very interesting. I mainly at the moment am stuck with any tones and Baofungs and that for my mobile side, and of course the old car. I haven't quite got into the actual portable situation with my radio, but funny enough, I have with my group, and some of the stuff we use is lead acid, and some of them are portable, sort of like batteries for the amplifiers. So I'm getting there slowly but surely. I've come away from the old dark ages, where you used to turn the generator. That was many years ago. To power some of the valve amplifiers we had. So that'll take you all back a bit. 2E0EQN, back to net controller.
EQN from MX0WNN. Well, hey, you know, I've got a supply of various batteries of various stuff that we can use, and not all of them are lithium, don't worry. It wasn't until recently that lithium became, well, more affordable. I wouldn't say it's cheap, it's not, but a couple of years ago it was flipping expensive, and that's the polite version of it, shall we say. Almost you had to sell bodily parts to be able to afford it. Nowadays they're becoming way more affordable. I suppose it's down to the advances in technology. So one of the reasons I've gone across to them is the fact that they're a heck of a lot more portable and lightweight, shall we say. Lugging around old car batteries for scout camps and things like that, to be able to power stuff or for radio ends, it got a bit much on the back, shall we say. The advent of lithium stuff, sensible money, you know, it just became way more sensible in terms of lugging it about and not dropping it on one's toes. Done that, squealed a bit and hurt. Right, back to you there, David. 2E0EQN from MX0WNN.
Yes, I suppose the funniest one, many years ago, having mobile discos and different shows and that, we used to run a Voltexian amplifier which you could drop down to 12 volts, and a hand portable sort of like crank, which we used for the carnivals. But you're right, I mean, there's no doubt about it. Some of the stuff I'm using now, some of the lithiums and that. Having said that, the gentleman who lives a couple of doors up from me, a young lad here, is busy building a mobile home, and he's getting quite a bit of help of the mobile community. And I was sitting looking at one of the batteries in the back of the Ford Transit that they're converting. And I said to him, I says, that looks like a lithium. He said, yes. He says, I tried mainly to go off-piste in the sense of not connecting to the caravan site supplies. I said, it must cost you a little bit. He says, well, it's just under $2,000. He says, but mind that has a 5-year guarantee, that if anything happens to the battery in the 5 years, I get another one brand new. I think for $2,000 I might have actually missed out on that, but that's the way they seem to be going. Lovely talking to you all night. I will be listening. I'm going to toddle into the house and take all my art equipment in, because I don't teach again until Friday. And I might actually do some work with my bass guitar tonight, so that'll be some battery work as well. 2E0AQN, back to net controller.
EQN from MX0WNN. Yeah, not a problem at all. Yeah, $2,000. Some of these big ones, particularly if you want to be totally sort of self-sufficient, yeah, they're not cheap. They're not cheap at all. But I have to admit, if you look at the number of cycles the gentleman does, and then look how many lead-acid batteries you'd burn through, it's probably not. It's probably cheaper in the long run for him to go for his. If you look at his 5-year lifespan. Look at how many you go through, and I bet you it's cheaper to go for the lithium. The downside is you've got to take the hit in one hit, whereas with the lead acids, you know, you replace it every so often. But you know, if he's intent on not connecting to the caravan site supplies, etc., then I suppose it's part and parcel of what you got to do. So interesting, right? Okay, enjoy getting the art stuff in, enjoy with the bass guitar, etc. Hope you have a good evening, and a pleasure having you on the net. Okay, that does put us down to the bottom of the list. So if there's anybody else out there that would like to join in the Wednesday Night Net, don't feel shy. Please come along, say hello, and we'll quite happily have a chinwag. This is MX0WNN. Looking for any additional check-ins, please. Please come now. Okay, this is MX0WNN. Is there anybody else out there who would like to tune in for the Wednesday Night Net and participate? If so, please come now.
Yeah, 20 KBZ, that's Scott for all over from the crew. Okay, you can pick off the chair now, you have last from the back.
KBZ from MX0WNN. Oh no, we remember you, Scott, don't worry. I heard you checking into Graham's net the other week, etc. And I thought, oh, he's still there, he's doing alright. How are you doing there, Scott? And we're talking portable power tonight. What have you used? What have you liked to try? What have you dabbled with? What hasn't worked so well? You know the score. Over to you, Scott. 2E0 KBZ from MX0WNN.
Yeah, 20 KBZ, I'm over science on right to you. Going through Petra, through this off for the years, you know. Right, portable power supplies. Yeah, still calling to the rain net. We do a lot of off-grid stuff. We don't use the batteries on the vehicle, we can help it. We do use external batteries and stuff like that. Now, I've got a very good piece of kit. It's a USB 12 volt and 240 volt power pack, and it's also got solar panels on it for it. I did a rainnet duty the other week with a lot of kills, running 50 watts from our radio, and it's still 100% at the end of the day. That's with the battery with solar panels running as well. So I think we're just running off the solar panels. And yeah, I'm doing alright. Got some time off work. I might be taking an early retirement. It's after doing 42 years in the interim as a medic, and 25 years coming up with the ambulance service. No, I'm not going to be coach, but I don't know yet. I'll just make going to teaching. I'm not spending enough time with wife and daughter, and not spending enough time on the radio. I'm going to get prices right first, radio first. So I'm might be taking their retirement. I don't know yet. I'm not decided. Back on the control, 230 KBZ.
230 KBZ from MX0WNN. Well, no problem at all. Good evening. And, early retirement, so you can play more radio. That sounds like a fun thing. I wish I could do that. Yeah, and your power bank sounds good. Yeah, I suppose the key thing is having all the available bits and pieces to do what you need to do with the various radios, if that makes sense. If you can have one power bank or power battery or whatever you want to call it, that allows you to do everything in one hit, then that makes life a heck of a lot easier because you only need to take one thing with you. Back over to you, Scott, and welcome via Tetra from MX0WNN.
Yeah, 230 KBZ returning. Yeah, yeah. I mean, all right, yeah. I mean, if me and my mate Darren, another RAM radio operator, RAINnet member, we had a competition who could run the longest off grid, I think me and him would win easy because we do work as a pair, me and Darren do, and he's one for solar panels and battery banks and stuff like that. So he just built a big massive battery bank, a leisure battery, put it into a case. We got 12 volts on it, USB power on it, I've got a light on it, you name it, he's got it on it. But the only one problem is, compared to mine, this is heavy. Mine's lightweight. Mine will fit to be backpack with a couple of solar panels. I go up on the hotel, set the battery up, get my radio 818 out, it will last all day, no problem. And the only big thing I have to carry on is the antennas and stuff. But yeah, it's good fun, very good fun. Back on the control, 230 KBZ. I will be wondering for a bit.
KBZ from MX0WNN. Yeah, no problem at all, like you say. Yeah, there is a point where one's battery banks get a bit extreme, shall we say. It's probably one of the reasons I've got so many. Sized for different activities and different sort of scenarios, let's call them. Like as I say, if we're going away for the big field day, the big one comes out. If I'm just going up in the car or just somewhere small, up to the chimneys, as some of you heard about, and I'll take something really dead dinky and small because it's only going to be me, and I'm probably not going to be running a lot of power. So yeah, keep something small. It makes it more easily to get out and about. So all sorts of different, pick the right tool for the job, I suppose it is, isn't it? Right, okay, no problem. We'll say 7-3 to Scott, and well, that does put us at the bottom of the list. Let's see. Is there anybody else out there that would like to join in? If so, you know what to do. Please come now. Give us your name, call sign, location, and we will get you in the log. This is MX0WNN. Okay, I got G0WUR, but you were definitely underwater stroke back of the box there, Gareth. Try it again. G0WR from MX0WNN.
Good evening, Bruce, from G0WR. Right, hopefully that's a little bit better. Just realised I've picked up the wrong microphone. There we go. So hopefully this is sounding better. Back to you. MX0WNN from G0WUR.
3,000% better, Gareth.
Good stuff, right. Glad to be able to be making it in this time round. No, wanted to check in with the net. Sorry, a little bit late. I was held up doing RT, actually. Yeah, brilliant topic tonight. It's been interesting listening to various comments so far, all about portable power. And, yeah, well, you know me, I'm a huge fan of these LIFE DO4, I think, is to give its full designation, isn't it? The lithium-ion phosphate cells. I think they're absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, they're also expensive, which I think is the only negative I can really come up with on them. But yeah, they've certainly made it a difference to some of the stuff that I've been playing about with. You know, the energy density is fabulous, but the weight saving is the bit that I just find astonishing. So yeah, they're really good things. I suppose the other one I was thought of is sort of going down the route of portable generators, but you still get the classic issue with them, isn't it? Of by the time you get something that's of a size that gives you a, well, let's say, reasonably significant amount of AC wattage out the other end of it, you also get the noise footprint, don't you? Silent generators are a bit of a misnomer. They're not really that silent. Anyway, back to you. MX0WNN from Golf 0 Whiskey Uniform Romeo.
G0WR from MX0WN. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, if you start going into generators, there's a whole world of fun to be had. You know, silent in terms of audible noise. They start getting expensive real quick. Silent in terms of RF noise. That can be an interesting one. And like you say, having enough oomph out of them. You know, there's little dinky generators. But if you want to run something reasonably sizable, you know, it starts getting expensive. I have got one at work, Gareth. 350 kVA. Yeah, the only problem is you need a sizable forklift to shift it, and it's powered by a Scania V8 truck engine and runs on diesel. And it definitely is not silent. It's most definitely audible. But I'll tell you what, it'll run heck of a special event station, that will, Gareth. Back over to you. Gareth, are you receiving us? Okay, let's just check. Is it just Gareth that's lost me, or has everybody lost me? Let's pick somebody off the list. Brian, G70CK, are you receiving me, sir?
Oh, I'm not, can't hear a word. From Golf 7, Oscar Charlie Kilo.
You must just be telepathic.
Back again. Sorry about that.
Got you there now, Gareth. Go ahead.
Ironic that we're all talking about portable power, and I managed to commit the cardinal sin of I forgot to put the handy on charge earlier. The battery just went flat. You know what it's like with the Anytones, they take a good few seconds to reboot. Oops. Now, I was saying, I know what you mean about generators. I mean, I'm fortunate enough, I have I think it's 7.5 or 8 kilowatts, 240 volts rating generator here, and it is fantastic. I mean, like a leak, you can run some stuff off that, but noise is a problem. I mean, we've got it as well these days. It's the contingency backup, shall we say, in the event of a massive power outage. It's actually big enough I can run the whole, well, actually I can run our house plus some of our next door neighbours through on it, which is amusing. But it's not exactly small either. I mean, to transport it around, I'd need to put it in a trailer, and it would pretty much take up half the space of the trailer that we have. So, yeah, they come with their minuses, but I think where the lithium phosphate cells are absolutely incredible. You know, energy density for the weight. I just wish that the price would start coming down on them. I keep living in hope that it will, because I'd quite like to be able to get a set of cells that were big enough to be able to cope with running a mains inverter of some reasonable number of kilowatts. I have a project in mind, but yeah, the current cost for cells not really viable. Back to you, Bruce. MX0WNN from G0WUR.
MX0WNN from returning. Yeah, like you say, if you want to get into running kilowatt-sized inverters off of batteries, yeah, when you do the maths as to how many amps are going to be coming down those battery cables, it's a heck of a lot. It's some big cable and some big battery. Your 100 ampere hour battery is not going to last you very long, and also a lot of these batteries have a maximum continuous discharge current. Yeah, they don't like it if you try and pull too much current, and because they're smart and they've got these BMSs, these battery management systems, they'll simply just shut it down and say no, thank you. Yeah, if it's rated as 100 amps and you try and pull 120, it'll just say no, not doing it. Regardless of fuses, it's effectively got its own inbuilt fuse. Yeah, they're quite smart to protect themselves. Yeah, you're into some big cables. Yeah, I deal with sizable cables at work, and yeah, you're into those, and you ain't just talking about short runs as well, in terms of, you know, for a second or so while you crank the starter motor. You're talking about it for fair old periods of time. Yeah, they're going to get warm, Gareth. You're going to have to cook things on those. Back over to you, G0WRN's MX0WNN.
Yeah, G0WUR returning. Yeah, well, you hit the nail on the head there. The inrush currents, you know, sort of continuous draw currents, yeah, that's where it starts to get a little bit interesting. I mean, I know with some of these types of the sort of the modern lithium packs, you can sort of stack them series and parallel configuration, but being the fact that they're lithium and battery management systems and stuff are all inside them, it starts getting quite complicated. It's certainly beyond the realms of your off-the-shelf, you know, battery source at that point, in order to do it. I suppose in that sense, doing those kind of very large, redundant power systems, you know, sort of the UPS type ideas, lead acid is brilliant in that application because they will take quite a beating. But of course, you have the weight problem, which rules it out with portable. The other one that I'd be interested to try, and I wonder if anybody has actually tried this, but is words just going out of my head, is vertical wind turbines. So not the conventional, sort of 3-4 blades pointing into the wind, but it's a vertical, and it sort of spins almost looks like a corkscrew. I wonder if anybody's ever tried those at all. It strikes me that could be always interesting. But I think it was yourself that mentioned earlier about solar for field day ops. Solar cells do seem to have improved greatly, and providing you've got the right sort of, what do they call them? What is it? Constant power point technology, I think it is. Something that basically means it optimizes voltage and current in order to get the maximum out of the solar panel. I think you can do quite a lot now with those, isn't it? So, yeah, it's interesting. It's all good fun. Then again, we could always go to the extreme, take a leaf out of engineering books around the world from a former time. It's a wonderful device. It's called an MMRTG. NASA uses them for things like the Mars rovers. Now, that's a portable power supply for you. Hi. Back to you, Bruce, from G0WUR.
MX0WNN returning. Oh yes, there's plenty of space-age tech out there, let's put it that way, of all sorts of interesting stuff we can play with. And like you say, the solar charge controllers, etc. Yeah, there's the £10 ones on Amazon and eBay, etc. All the way up to the thousands of pounds ones. They all do the same job, they just do it differently. Suppose it's a bit like cars, Do you want the basic one, or do you want the Lamborghini? They all go from A to B. They just do it in a slightly different way. But no, there's different stuff out there. But thankfully, I suppose this stuff is, with everybody trying to be green, etc. Then this stuff is becoming more affordable. I'm not going to say totally affordable. It's becoming more affordable. It's still not necessarily cheap, but it's certainly getting a bit better, shall we say. So that's always good. Right, okay, we'll break with Gareth. That does put us down the bottom of the list. So let's see, is there anybody else out there who would like to join in? If so, you know what to do. Please give us your name and call sign, and we shall get you in the log and work you, as they say. From MX0WNN. Okay, this is MX0WNN. Well, in the absence of anybody else checking in, we shall draw the net to a close, I suppose, in that case then. This has been MX0WNN for the call sign of the Wednesday Night Net. I'd like to thank all the networks, the gateway keepers, repeater keepers, etc., for taking the time to connect up, and all the individuals connecting those hotspots, nodes, gateways, and bits and pieces, and one thing or another that you've all got connected. Without you folks, there wouldn't be a net, so I'm genuinely appreciative of it. So, I'd like to thank the IRN for their permanent 24/7 connection. Do appreciate that. Also, the ANZEL network, Worldwide Radchu Amateur Radio Net, DV Scotland Phoenix, to name but a few. Thank you very much to everybody. At this point, I shall hang up the club call of MX0WNN, and I shall return in 2 seconds with my personal call. This is M0UKB. So thank you very much, everybody. Hope you've enjoyed it. Next week I will be, I wouldn't say on vacation, I shall be elsewhere for work, unfortunately. So you'll be left with Deputy Dog. You know what that means. It's going to be fun. I shall be, unfortunately, at the wrong time zone for running the net, but I'll be jealous. Anyway, everybody, please take care, enjoy yourselves. This has been the Wednesday Night Net, or whatever it translates to, whatever you may be in the world. Enjoy and have a good rest of the week from me. So 7-3 from M0 UKB.